That being said, my first main was Thatch. So take with that what you want. I don't know.
That is a piece of trivia I don't think I knew.
I played Biker Thatch, Skyforge Biker Thatch in ranked before I would play Scythe primarily. And that's all I'll say. I was playing in the seasonals before that, like winters. I almost beat Boomy in like pools or something. And that was when you would weapon throw and it would give you a chase dodge. When you'd reverse Scythe Nair and just take them to the stratosphere from the drift alone.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Season 2 of Brawlhalla Origins. This season's lineup is packed with awesome guests from various backgrounds in the Brawlhalla community. Join our VIP list by signing up at season2.brawlhallaorigins.com to get early access to each episode, special clips, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes updates. Today's guest needs little introduction. Sandstorm is a 6-time Brawlhalla World Champion across 1v1 and 2v2.
That is it! Sandstorm is the World Champion!
He pioneered Scythe gameplay back in 2018 and 2019, pushing the boundaries of what everyone thought the weapon was capable of.
Oh, he's still going! Oh, 0! Oh my gosh!
Brawlhalla Origins is presented by Brawl Academy. Brawl Academy's mission is to provide the best educational content for improving at Brawlhalla to support competition long-term by bringing in and leveling up new talent. Learn more at brawlacademy.com. Brawlhalla Origins Season 2 is sponsored by SIB Esports. Go support them and follow what they do over at esportssib.com.
Hello and welcome to the season premiere of Season 2 of Brawlhalla Origins. With me today is the one and only Sandstorm. Sandstorm, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. So, you are probably one of the more storied members of the Brawlhalla competitive community with, how many is it now? 6-time world champ across 1v1 and 2v2?
Technically it's 6, yeah, but a lot of people count different things because of the whole online era, not online era.
Sure.
So like, offline, I have 3 titles, 2 1v1s and then 1 2v2s, and then 3 online after COVID.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just say 6.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll just say 6. 6 sounds better anyway, right? So, for the people that are listening or tuning in for the first time, the point of Brawlhalla Origins is to interview notable members of the Brawlhalla community and talk to them a little bit about their history. So I'm going to open with the question that I generally tend to ask everyone. How did you find Brawlhalla?
Well, I actually knew about Brawlhalla since as back as 2015.
Okay.
There, I was starting to play a lot of Smash 4 competitively, right? And a good friend of mine, he didn't have a Nintendo console or anything. And he was a big PC guy. I didn't even have a PC back then. Like, I was using a MacBook or my parents' MacBook, right? And he showed me Brawlhalla back in middle school, and we played it for like a couple hours, and I'm like, this is dumb. And I went back to Smash. But then a couple years later, like it was summer 2017, same thing happened with another friend. So then we had more people to play Brawlhalla. And at that point, I was just playing it. We were all playing it for fun. I'm like, wait, this is slowly starting to become addicting. So then I just kept playing and playing and playing Brawlhalla.
So you got kind of really started then, sort of middle of 2017, you would say?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's when I started learning the game and actually play the game actively.
So your history kind of with competitive Smash obviously kind of played a big part in your ability to get good at Brawlhalla pretty quickly.
Definitely, yeah.
So from sort of like when you started to how long do you think it took you roughly to make it to like Diamond? Let's say that first milestone.
I'd say I started playing Brawlhalla a lot right when summer started for 2017, and then I first got Diamond right before Dash came out. So was that like September?
Okay.
Around
Right,
September,
right.
if you'd know the date. I'm pretty sure it was September.
Somewhere around then.
And then when Dash came out, that season is when I became like a ranked nutter. And then after that is when I started playing actual tournaments. Because I watched all of BCX when I was in that ranked nutter phase, and I'm like, this is really cool. And I was still like very addicted to the game. I was spending a lot of money on the game. And yeah.
So let's then go back toward kind of the rank nutter into starting to play tournaments. When you started really feeling like you were starting to get good at the game, like what was sort of like your first kind of like breakout tournament?
Well, the one Brawl League tournament, Outplayer Dismay, where I just my first top 8, I just randomly won. That's what most people consider the breakout tournament, but I was playing in the seasonals before that, like Winters. I almost beat Boomy in like pools or something. And that was when you would weapon throw and it would give you a chase dodge.
Yeah.
And we would play on Twilight Grove and that's all I'd do. And I don't know, I was having fun with it. And then I lost to the Penguin for 33rd. But then Springs, I almost beat Lil Cat for top 8 winners. But then I lost to I lost to Remy for 9th. So each time it was like almost to top 32, almost to top 8 at the tournament after. So I was getting better and better. I was just so close. And then the next tournament I just up and won.
Nice. And then back then, what was your main?
I played Mirage first when I was grinding a lot.
I remember you playing a lot of Mirage.
And then it was Nyx. And then ultimately I just played Mordex because he was broken. Like I would play all the Scythe characters, like Artemis too. I played Artemis in tournament when I was in ranked nutter phase. I was just a Scythe one trick, everybody knows that. So I played all the legends and I play Mordex. I'm like, this is very clearly better than all of them. So I just played Mordex exclusively.
What do you think it was that made Mordex better than the other Scythe legends back then?
Gauntlets were better than all the other weapons. He had the best stats, and his SIGs were better than all of them too. Like, let's talk about pre-patch Mordex D-SIG, shall we? Atrophius, you know that. Know a lot about that.
Mordex was a very fun character.
Oh, yeah.
I loved playing him back then. Yeah.
He still is a fun character.
Yeah.
But he's not. People don't know. Some people don't know. When you'd reverse Scythe Nair and just take them to the stratosphere from the drift alone. I miss that.
Scythe was a very different weapon. I guess kind of speaking about sort of that your relationship with Scythe and how good you got at that weapon. What is it about that weapon that you think you kind of got attached to sort of early on and
it was the combos, man. Like even in Smash I would gravitate to the characters where you just like touch of death people and how satisfying that the mechanics worked in Brawl with a punish. Like if you think about other weapons, like more basic weapons like sword and spear, a big dodge punish is like the same thing over and over again. Scythe, you get like a clean read, you have 5 seconds to go crazy, like do what you want, versus like you have to do this here. Scythe, you have so much control and combo potential. It's like, wow, I can come up with so many different things. And I was going crazy with offstage too. Like it was so much more fun than the other weapons. Like I just didn't feel like playing anything else. That being said, my first main was Thatch. So take with that what you want. I don't know.
That is a piece of trivia I don't think I knew.
I played Biker Thatch, Skyforge Biker Thatch in ranked before I would play Scythe primarily, and that's all I'll say.
Did you get the diamond on Thatch, or was that before then?
Not first. I did though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I got better, I played Thatch again and could get diamond.
That's crazy.
But then I just dropped
Yeah.
in because I'm like, what am I doing, bro?
It's Thatch.
Play Thatch.
Right? Oh man, that is a piece of truth.
Not a lot of people know that. And I feel like it's something I've said a lot of times, but it's not like no one's gonna remember that. I feel
that one. Yeah, that one didn't really stick. Okay, so I remember being attached to sort of like the expressiveness of Scythe,
exactly.
kind of like back then. I feel like it's a little less expressive now because there's like, now that people have kind of optimized the weapon down to like these are the optimal routes for each option.
Like for when I'm playing, you'll see me do one of 4 to 5 certain things depending on the health instead of, I don't know, randomness. If that makes sense.
I think that was one of the things that made the weapon like especially strong, is that like that level of expressiveness that you had made it much easier to just mix people up, because you could pick so many different options and they all behave differently from one another.
I remember when I first came up with the D-Light Nair loops, I'm like, why is no one doing this? This is actually crazy on dodge. You know, it was never actually a real thing. People would jump after the D-Light and then not be grounded, so they'd not get their dodge back, so the string would last longer. And people would keep doing that. And I'm like, people just don't know how to fight this weapon still. Or like, even just, that's not even just Scythe, it's just basic mechanics of being grounded. Even while being comboed, you'll get your dodge back.
Right.
And it's like, well, you know, people are just panicking on hit all the time, so.
People are thinking, I gotta get away, and rather than go to the ground, they're like, all right, I gotta go up and out or something.
I've had people talk about, like, or ask me, how'd you know I had my dodge back there? I didn't even know. I'm like, bro, you're not paying attention.
Oh man. What so back then when you were really starting to get good, kind of like before you won BCX for the first time, a few people asked me to ask you what your sort of like training and practice sort of like regimen or whatever looked like how much were you grinding the game, how much was like dedicated practice, how much was like time in the lab versus playing ranked or sparring? Like, what did that kind of look like for you back then?
It was kind of a mix of everything. It's just, obviously most people will tell you how to get better at the game. You just have to play and just keep playing. So like, I would do some ranked, I would do training mode, I'd play with friends, I would play friendly twos. I've talked about that a lot. Also, pretty sure I entered like every tournament I could. The official ones and like the community ones. They're like smaller community ones, and then like bigger ones like Brawl League and like, you know, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I played in every tournament I could, which is the most important form of practice probably.
Right.
And that's pretty much it.
Let's talk about friendly twos for a moment, because you have mentioned this before. What is with friendly twos? How did that become such a thing?
It's just me and my friend's favorite game mode, and I don't know, like, you just see a pro player entering friendly twos, and it's like, you don't know what's gonna happen. And I felt like friendly twos, like, people know me for my, like, crazy tournament clips and whatever, right? But, like, I've literally practiced and made up things in friendly twos and go, I wonder if I could hit that in tournament. Friendly twos to me was just like a practice playground of, like, do whatever crazy thing possible. And it's still it. I still play friendly twos religiously. Hold on. I need to pull up a little thing real quick. Sure. I have an alt account of hours of only friendly twos, and I'm going to tell you how many hours it is. So give me a sec. I'm actually logging in right now.
That's awesome.
Okay. Never mind. It says enter the security code. I don't care that much. I think it's upwards of like 800. Yeah, minus whatever hours I have on my account.
That's crazy.
I've told people since 2019, like, I actually think it's a good form of practice because it's not like you're sweating, but it's just different in terms of coming up with stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You get a lot of opportunities to practice different things.
And people are like, why don't you just play ranked or experimental? I'm like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same at all. Yeah. It's much more fun. But I've turned it into like a sweat machine of a game mode. And like, I fully blame myself, but I don't care. I still play it because it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. The competition in Friendly Twos is much more stiff than it was.
Or maybe that's just because they fight me. I don't know. They see my name and start sweating harder. I couldn't tell you.
I mean, that definitely happens because people do that to me, and I'm not even.
I get weapon starved in Friendly Twos. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Or people will boomerang only, and there's no counterplay. That's okay. Wait, if BMG's listening, I actually think it needs nerfed. Like the boomerang is OP. It's not a fun item. It's the best in the game by far. Okay, that's all.
It's supposed to be.
That's all I'll say about that.
It's supposed to be.
No, it's not.
It's the most fun gadget.
And then they add the sticky bomb, and it's like useless because you just spot dodge it on the audio cue every time.
But a lot of people don't know that
because they don't play,
or they play with no audio.
No, I'd be able to spot dodge with no audio.
You'd be able to do it with no audio?
Okay, anyways, I'm rambling about items.
Okay, so first BCX was also your first LAN, if I remember correctly. Kind of walk me through what your mindset was going into BCX. Like, did you feel like at the beginning that you were going to win?
Not really. I knew I was very good and could place very high, and I knew like at home I was playing on a laptop the whole time, 60 hertz.
Oh yeah, you got the LAN buff real hard.
Yeah, and I was very aware the LANs had the monitors that everyone was talking about. I was talking about. So I've tweeted about it. I'm like, I can't wait to go on LAN and play on these things. And I get to LAN. I remember I was with my friend and Ethan. We sit down to play, and I'm like, I've been playing the game wrong the whole time. And then it was not until like Ethan and I almost got top 3 winners. It was game 5 against Cake and Addy, right?
Yep.
And then I got top 8 winners in singles very easily. And then that night I'm like, I could just win because I'm playing good and the setups are like buffing me like crazy. Like I'm reacting to everything. I'm hitting every punish and sig and stuff that I practice. So I'm like, we'll see what happens. So I was very confident after that point. But before I was just playing normally. I was like, my goal coming into the weekend was just to top 8. I was like, if I get top 8, I'm like, all right, I'll try to go further, but I'm like, let's go. And then I got top 8 winners, and I dropped like 1 game. I'm like, okay,
right,
this is different than what I expected.
Right. Okay, so from that night, then you were like, all right, I can just do this. What was that feeling like when you kind of like, well, actually, walk me kind of through grand finals in particular. Like, how did it feel to like, okay, you're in grand finals now. You're ready to take on your final opponent. Like, walk me through kind of like the mindset of like what that final game was like.
Well, after I beat Boomy, like the classic set, game 5, I knew I was gonna win because at that point, I'm like winner's side. Like I've beaten everyone I've come across this far. I'm like, okay, I'm literally just on fire. Like I'm not gonna lose to whoever I fight. And I ended up fighting Wrenched. And I wasn't we didn't really play that much that year, so I wasn't exactly familiar with how he played. But like I remember thinking I'm just gonna like out fundy him, and like I'm not scared of his character at all versus my character is far more scary. So I'm like, I think I'm just gonna read him and out mechanic him. And that's pretty much what I did because it was a 3-0. I mean, the games were
Right.
close, but do you know when you play a close game and you look back and it's actually a close game, but it doesn't feel close at all? That's a
Yeah.
lot of, like 80% of my tournament games are that. I'm like, yo, I destroyed this guy, and then I look back, it's like 3-0, 3-1, but every game's close. I'm like, I didn't actually destroy him. That's what it feels like when I win. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a mental thing.
Huh. Yeah. It just feels like you're so far ahead
Yeah.
that they can't catch up, even though it's like, oh, if they had like landed a handful of like a few more hits.
And it's like,
maybe it
I
would
think
have
it's
been different.
because I do like a weird choice or make some mistakes here and there, but I don't care because I'm so confident. I think that's what it is. That's my guess.
Interesting. Okay. And then, so you win BCX. It's your first LAN. You're world champion. You're going into the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Is the goal at that point to just stay on top?
Yeah, I wanted to keep winning tournaments, so that's exactly what I did. I think you remember this. Do you remember when Dusk came out and we were like
Yeah.
sparring on like a stream or something?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think
I
so.
just got a new PC, so I'm playing on like this buff setup at my home online, and I'm
Right.
able to play 5 times better. I'm like, I was just excited to play tournaments again. Except for
Nice.
Winters, I'll never win that tournament. I'll never win it.
What is it about Winters?
I have no idea. There's off seasons where I do practice, and off seasons where I don't, and there's the results the same thing. So I don't even know. The closest I've gotten was 3rd,
Okay.
and the worst was like 9th or the 33rd before I got really good at the game. But I'm practicing a lot this off season, and I'm still beating everybody pretty easily. And I'm rank 1 NA again, so like if I don't win, I actually don't know what's up. Because the other pros are slacking with practice, minus a few. And
Okay.
I don't know. Because it's not even like I'm not nervous about the tournament. I just lose like, every single time. So I'm just gonna pick like the most broken thing possible for Winters and like try hard, and then because if I win Winters, I beat the game. I'll have won like every possible BMG event.
Right.
Technically.
Right.
So I really want to win Winters.
Winters is like the final boss at this point.
It's so stupid.
Okay, so you come back after BCX and then lose Winters.
Yeah.
Does that have like any long-term impacts on the mindset at that point, or is it just like this tournament sucks?
Yes. I lose Winters and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll win the next tournament, and then I do, and I'm like, I don't understand, because not even like the day or 2 days after I lose Winters, I'm playing on fire, and I'm like, it's just a real curse.
How many times has this happened now where you like you win like the world championship and then you lose Winters? Is this like 3 times now? 3 or 4
Specifically
times?
like winning worlds?
Yeah.
3 times.
3 times?
3 times in a row it happened.
And then immediately lose Winters?
Yeah. And the 3rd time in a row was the worst placement. I didn't even get top 8.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
But then for then after the first BCX, you lost Winters, but then you won like almost everything else that year? Or am I mixing up years?
Yeah. It was that and 2021 I had like the most tournament wins per year. It was I lost Winters, and then the next one was a community tournament where Fate just came out, and then I won with her.
Yep.
And then Springs, and it was the Zol period. Or no, it was a final round first. I won on Mordex, and then the Fate tournament. And then I brought out the Zol. And then there was the period of tournaments where I didn't lose at all for like 7 tournaments straight. And then I got second the next 2 lands to Wrench. And then I won BCX. minus a few like online tournaments.
Wow. You mentioned bringing out the Zol. What kind of like inspired the swap to Cannon?
So everyone at that point called Zol the worst in the game. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you know exactly why? Was it because
made no
Axe
sense to
and
me.
Zol? Was it because he was slow?
I think it.
A slow heavy weapon.
Yeah, I think it had something to do with Axe, and then people were kind of downplaying how crazy Cannon was.
Well, there wasn't a soul playing Cannon, right?
Okay.
I played Cannon since it came out for fun. Like, I talk about being a Scythe one trick, I was, but like Cannon, in the same vein as Scythe, you burn a dodge or you do whatever you want. That's why I like Cannon. So I played Sidra on release. I played Linfei. I had a Zol. Every Cannon character that came out, I would grind for days until I went back. So I had this real pick that nobody knew about, and like literally the day before, it's so funny. The day before Springs, I'm sparring Boomy, and we're just talking about the game or whatever. And I bring out the Zol, and I'm going like, it's not close at all, like not even close. And Cannon had all these dumb setups and true combos too that no one knew about. And it was like, I just told him like, bro, I'm just going to play Zol tomorrow because this is easy. This is easier than Scythe. And no one's going to know how to dodge or anything. And I was exactly right. And it was so funny. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep playing this because this is broken apparently. 8, 9 Force Zol, that's amazing. When no one knows what to do.
How do you feel about the Cannon changes and kind of the state of Cannon today?
You turned such a fun weapon into the most degen thing possible. And it's not even like... It's kind of like the same weapon, right? But something about it is off. I miss old Dare. Old Cannon felt like a club. Like hitting someone with a club versus an actual cannon. And for some reason that was more fun. And there are more like variables to Cannon combos and stuff. Like Sidelight Dash Jump Dare was a thing versus normal Dare. It was like depending on how you hit it.
Right.
Now Cannon's like literally just brain dead. Like it's for brain dead players. I miss old Enlight. Old Enlight was more satisfying. Sidelight's just dumb now. I don't know. I just miss Enlight. If they brought back old Enlight, I would probably play it again just for that, for the sound effect, for how it looks.
Sure.
Like, you know how they changed the cannon moves to make it more like a cannon, like you know what I mean? Enlight was fine. I don't know why they changed it, because you'd hit him with the cannon and then the blast came out.
Right.
Versus like Dare when there was no blast. That makes more sense. But like Enlight could have stayed. I miss Cannon Enlight. I think more players miss old Cannon than not. If you were to take a survey. I'm being serious.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Cannon feels just, I don't know, bizarre to me right now because it's both like a weapon where like if you really want to, you can just not get hit by this weapon.
Yeah.
And then at the same time,
on hit,
like,
it's just...
It feels really bad to play against when you do get hit.
It's either top zero or it's not. That's how it feels like when you fight it.
Yeah.
People compare it to like fighting Lance, but it's... I don't know. I feel like when I'm beating Lance, I'm like winning. But Cannon's just like, I might die because this guy just guessed randomly. Guessed right.
Right.
I don't know. You can't really do that on Lance.
Right. I feel like, I mean, that's how a lot of people felt about Scythe for a long time.
That's a skill issue. Now people are like, oh, wait, this is jumpable. And this. Reverse Dare actually is negative on hit at most healths. Wow.
Right.
BMG.
Yeah. Oh, no. Wait, let's not turn this show into a buff Scythe campaign.
I don't care. Now, Scythe doesn't need buffs. Scythe's been fine for like years. If people will play it or not.
Okay, so you did the Scythe transition to Cannon. You've also recently picked up the boots. And Boots are
Okay.
crazy.
They're all right.
They're all right.
Okay. They can win. They can win.
How did you feel about Tezca when you first started playing him?
I was like, BMG, what is this? What did you make? I remember when they first revealed Boots, I went up to photo. I'm like, did you make that for me? Because I actually had I had an idea for a weapon. It was rocket boots. Do you know?
Oh yeah.
You know, like Smash, like Zero Suit's moveset.
Right.
Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Like her kick moves and the jumps and like the specials. I'm like, what if they brought that to Brawlhalla? It was like Lance Gauntlets type weapon, they did boots, but it wasn't like crazy or anything. I'm like, this is exactly a type of weapon I play, and I was right.
Yeah, yeah. I was when it was revealed at BCX. I went up to Photo 2 and I was like, the first weapon combo has to be Boots Gauntlets. Like it has to be. And he was very coy about it.
You caught him off guard.
Yeah. So, no, I was pretty happy when Tezca came out. That legend was very fun, but
yeah,
man, those signatures were broken. Kind of still are.
They're still the best sig kit in the game, probably.
Yeah, especially, dude. Some of those 6 and 2s are just
not real. You bypass a whole section of the game by pressing the sig button. I still think Arcadia has the best sig kit in the game. That's just me.
Arcadia, really? Is it just because of D-Sig?
No legend can do what she does with N-Sig, really? D-Sig. The side sig projectile is actually good on Greatsword. Like it goes twice the distance of Fates on Scythe. Right. It's like, okay, this is straight up better. And it kills it orange.
And it's bigger.
Yeah. I still think she has the best sig kit in the game, but she's kind of a weird pick. Versus Tezca's just brainless almost.
Yeah. I feel like you got to be a special kind of player to play both Spear and Greatsword together. Hello, Croc.
I think you need to be a special type of player to just play Greatsword. No, Spear is whatever.
Well, you played Greatsword when it was like ultra broken.
Yeah,
but,
I played it when it wasn't broken too.
How do you feel about it these days?
I don't know. It's good, but it's just not fun to me at all versus every other weapon I play. So I just haven't practiced it again.
Yeah. How do you feel about that use win then?
I don't know. That was interesting. Greatsword winning. I tweeted about it. Greatsword winning in 2023. VCX is. They need to nerf the aerials.
Yeah.
Like just straight up. I don't know which ones or how you're gonna nerf them, but they're not. For a weapon that's ground game is that strong, and for them to proceeding to just buff the aerials for no reason.
Right.
Actually, for no reason, it doesn't make sense to me. So, like, I think that the culprit is Sarah. That move isn't.
The side air buff was too much.
Multiple, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, when they did the side air buffs, that was too much. I think. I did have a viewer ask, do you have a plan to deal with South America players now that they've kind of become dominant this year?
I will. Nothing like exact yet, but I always think me playing at my peak, when I'm peaking, I can beat anybody. It doesn't matter. So I just need to figure out how to get there again. Versus 95% of players, I can do that. But it's like, when am I going to practice against Brazil? I can't. So it's very difficult when I do fight against them. It's the same case for every other player against Brazil. But and VOD review doesn't really work like that for me, because when I figure out how to beat someone, it's like what I do specifically against them. So in NA, it's very easy. And like before, when I beat like EU or like other players, it's just a skill diff. But now it's much harder. Right. So, but I think I can do it. I've gotten better at adapting on the fly recently anyways. I just need to play more.
So do you think then that your sort of like competitive career in Brawlhalla still has a lot of longevity? Or...
Yeah. I'm just I'm just too nice. I don't know. Even if I'm not winning everything, it's like a top 5 here, a top 3 here, you know?
Right.
So that's still profit. That's still making moves. And I'm still improving. And I like when other players are improving because the game's more fun now.
Right.
So yeah, if I were to quit right now or quit within the next year, it's like, what are you doing? You're rank 1 in the country again. It's like,
yeah.
I can do this for a long time, I'm pretty sure. And I have been doing it for a long time.
Nice. That's what I was worried about with Impala when he retired.
You can't quit Brawl, it comes back for you.
Yeah, I know. Like it's I feel like that happens to everybody at this
You've done it multiple times.
People
this is my last year of competitive Brawl. Here you are, bro.
I don't. The only way I think I could quit this game is if I just stopped going to lands.
But you're not gonna.
Because every time I go to like a BCX or something, I'm like, fuck, I love this game. So, yeah, it's hard. Like, especially if you have any attachment to the community at all. It's like, because once you think you've given up, it just sneaks back in somehow.
It all it takes is like, let me launch this game again. I mean, oh, that was an 8-hour session. Cool.
Yeah.
What were we gonna ask about Impala?
I don't think I was gonna ask anything about Impala. I think it was just kind of pointing out like the that whole he made the point of making the point that he retired and then showed up
and then got top 5 at BCX.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was like, it's difficult to give up something that's you're really good at that also makes you money, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't even make money, and I have a hard time giving it up. So
passion is passion, bro.
Right. Do you have so you Mirage, Mordex, Zol, some Fate, Tezca. Why do you tend to pick the mains that you've had over the years? Is it just like enjoyment of the character? Is it like character power? Some of these characters are obviously broken at the time that you played them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that kind of like the sort of commonality?
Usually I'll pick a very strong character that I enjoy playing, and like all of these broken characters are pretty meta, like Tezca, Mirage now, like Mordex forever. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna pick a bad character,
right?
And, like all the things I enjoy playing are good, and they're fun because they're good, because you have all these options. I want all these options.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if something's like, think of like pre-patch Greatsword.
Right.
When I was like, I wasn't gonna play it, but I was messing around on it. I'm like, as a competitor, I'm like, I need to play this because this is not normal. Like that was the only time in Brawl ever where I'm like, I'm throwing if I don't pick this because this is very clearly top 1, right? That's like I think one of the only times meta has seriously affected my character choice. Other times I just happen to always pick the best characters. I think like you can win on anything in Brawl lately anyways.
Do you have now that we've had kind of like the first of what BMG has said, several balance passes over the off season, are you looking for a new main, or are you planning to stick with kind of what you've been playing recently?
So I've been practicing a good bit, like past week or two, messing around on a bunch of characters, and I just won a community tournament on Mirage again, and I'm just like, out of all the characters, I was playing like Moonin, I was playing like Cannon characters, Axe characters, I was playing Mordex again. Of all the characters, I was like, Mirage is still my best character, so I'm just going to play her unless there's like something drastic happening to Spear, because I don't think they're going to touch her Sigs again. I don't think they're going to touch Scythe again.
Right.
I don't know. And then there's always Boots, if I want to play Boots, because all the Boots characters are broken, and it's so much easier than Scythe. And like people would agree with that, but like Scythe is like so hard stuck in my head that it's not like hard to me. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I can just pick up and play Scythe, and it's normal to me.
Yeah.
But if I'm ever struggling, like I'd play Boots because you don't need any of that to win on Boots.
So when you started playing the game, the newest weapon at the time was Scythe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was kind of your feelings when you started? What was kind of your feelings about all the weapons in the game? And then as newer weapons started to get introduced, how did you feel about kind of like those weapons when they were added and like how they kind of fit into Brawlhalla as a game?
I think everything except for Greatsword has been fine. They come out with Greatsword. I'm like, okay, maybe they're trying a bit too hard because this weapon has 20 light moves. But like every weapon that's come out since I've been playing, I've always practiced or like grinded the first out of anybody because that's what I like to do. Like Scythe came out, Scythe was already out, but it was the newest weapon, and I was just playing it because it was fun. Then Cannon came out, I grinded all the Cannon Legends. Orb came out, started to win tournaments on Orb. Greatsword came out. I don't need to explain Greatsword. And then Boots. I just every new weapon that's come out, I've always been doing that. I don't know.
Yeah. Quick viewer question: what are the most difficult parts of Brawlhalla to master, in your opinion?
Probably like being actually good at tracking. Like tracking your opponent through the air and like what they do that way. Like how they're gonna dodge when they land, or like how many jumps they use when they land. Like the micro stuff is definitely the hardest part to get down. Not like combos or just movement options, but like the really small things like micro habits that people do to like capitalize on is probably the hardest part to get down in Brawl. Because like
that makes sense.
You'll probably like figure out what someone's doing in a certain situation, but you're just not quite there to like do the best thing possible, and it's because you're probably missing out on that one certain little thing that they're doing, like something very small.
Do you have any sort of like advice or tips to kind of help people get that down?
Nothing specific, but like you just need to play the game a lot and like really pay attention to like why things happen. Like if you don't understand why something happens, it's like you need to pay attention. Remember the thing I mentioned about the grounded dodge during the D-line? Something like that a player grinding won't really catch because it's so small. Just like really paying attention to every interaction on screen.
That makes sense. So I'm going to bring it back a little bit because I want to talk a little bit about our history, like mine and your history a little bit, because I have a very minor role in the Sandstorm story, but I just want to make sure that I cover it. You and I used to run into each other in ranked quite a bit. And those were honestly back when you were first really getting good at the game. Like those games that we played in ranked against each other a lot were probably some of the more fun games that I played in ranked.
Yeah,
because just your playstyle back then was very like
different.
Yeah, it was very different than most people than you run into. So it was a lot of fun to play against. And I'm trying to remember. Maybe, I don't know if you'll remember this better or if I'm going to remember this better, one of us. I remember at some point or another, this is back when post-game chat was a thing. I think that we had like a conversation at some point about sort of like habits that you had on Scythe. And how I was able to beat you at the time. And it was one of the things that you fixed. And then shortly thereafter, like I just couldn't win anymore.
Actually, I do remember that, but I don't remember any details.
Okay.
I remember we do that stuff a lot, like after rank, though.
Yeah.
I don't remember any details, though.
Yeah. So I just like, I just watching you improve after having those conversations in ranked, and then seeing you win tournaments and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like there was a little part of me like, as one of, at the time, one of the better Scythe players in North America, where it was like watching someone kind of like take the weapon to the next level. Is like, I described it to people back then as like Sandstorm was able to do the things that I wasn't able to do with like how much I labbed the weapon and worked on the weapon and like learned things, and then you would take that stuff and just go like to a whole nother level with it. And seeing someone with kind of the mechanical skill that I wasn't able to put forward, and then you winning BCX and all that stuff. It was just like, as a Mordex player back then, even before Mordex was popular, it was a different experience.
Because at that time, what were all the legends winning and weapons winning up? Was it like sword characters?
It was a lot of sword.
Yeah,
it was a lot of sword.
Stuff.
I think Katars, maybe some
gauntlets.
Back then was also like when Hammer was considered to be really good too.
Lil Cap winning those tournaments,
yeah. So it was like a lot of like very, very
basic weapons,
basic neutral heavy weapons were winning, and then Scythe comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, once people figured out, or once you specifically kind of really unlocked sort of the weapon's potential, I think that's when the popularity of like Mordex and Scythe and those things kind of like really took off, because you were really showing people a side of the weapon that they didn't really know existed. Because like release Scythe was kind of very similar in my opinion to release Greatsword, but people didn't know how to take advantage of it.
Because it's a crazy thing to say, but I believe you, because usually
that weapon was ultra broken when it first came out. Like, it was absolutely insane. And like, I don't think anybody realized how broken it was when it first came out. That's like a very hindsight.
I would love to play
after seeing.
I would love to play on release Scythe and just see what it's like. Like, get a build of the game. It sounds like fun.
What made it really crazy, I think, and
I've watched it. It's like, I remember all the moves looked so jank.
Well, the thing about it was like all of the moves were very long. Like, one of the changes that they made like halfway through that year, I think, was just making all of the Scythe moves faster. And part of the reason that was actually a nerf to the weapon was you had so much time to be ready to react to whatever your opponent was going to do on the release version. And then dodge changes came in, and dodges got a little bit faster, and cooldown was adjusted and all that stuff. And Scythe slowly got a little bit worse because of all of those changes. But like the combined like time that each move took, and the way that you were able to just kind of be ready to react to literally anything. Yeah, no, release Scythe was a totally different animal. Like,
I think the only time they released a new weapon where it was just mid, it was Orb. You remember Orb on release?
Yeah.
What a bad weapon. I remember when they came out with the first changes, and I'm like, it's just a page of buffs. I'm like, maybe this is too much. But no, it was okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that's about all I've got on... Oh, no. What last viewer question was... Someone specifically wanted to know what your thought process was during 2021 Summer Champs Grand Finals.
That tournament
Do you remember this
specifically?
tournament?
Yeah, I reversed Rio Boomy twice.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer, honestly. I was just playing to win every game, and it happened to be 2 reverse 3-0s. You know, I don't know. I wasn't like, when I was down 2-0 each time, I wasn't like shaking or anything, because it's like, okay, I can still win because I'm playing good. And then,
Right.
I don't know. I think it's more of a case of Boomy throwing with a sig here, a sig there, and I just capitalize on everything. And then, you know, the games I did win, some of them were dominant. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. I remember when I did win, I was like, there's no way I just reverse 3-0'd him twice. I'm like, did they really let me do that? Like, 1 is like okay, but 2, I was very surprised. Yeah. I won. I remember the game, it was like game 9 he threw, and I was like, I leaned back all the way. I'm like, there's no way I lose the tournament now. Because, like, what are you doing? That was a fun tournament.
Yeah, that was something. I think I remember everybody kind of freaking out. Because how do you not? Like, it doesn't matter who's playing. I think if you watch somebody reverse 3-0 twice in grand finals, like, that's like one of the hypest things.
It looks scripted. It looks intentional, right? Because that's not like a thing that happens.
Yeah,
but it did happen.
It's very
so, hey.
Oh man, what would you say is your sort of best memory competing at this point? If you think about it in terms of, like, I don't know, events that you've gone to, like things that have happened at LANs or online or whatever the case may be, like, what if you had to pick out sort of like one specific memory?
I think playing on the LTC stage the first time.
That stage was so
in terms of
cool.
competition, I get in there for top 8 or top 5. I'm like, wow, I want to play on stages like this forever. Yeah, right. LTC is. People ask me what my favorite LAN is. It's usually LTC. Is my answer. It's like every LAN I go to are like equal to me. Usually, there are a few ones I didn't enjoy, but that's like rare. But I just like. I like the LAN experience. That's why I want more LANs per year. I know it's difficult to do, but like this year we had 3 LANs in BCX. I just want one extra one in there, you know, just like an MSI or something. It doesn't have to be an invitational. Just have another open entry tournament. Like, go to another DreamHack or something. Because I just like traveling.
Yeah, events. No, it's definitely a lot of fun. That LTC, I'm still disappointed that I couldn't go, because that was probably one of the coolest stages that we've ever played on. It was a really awesome setup. Do you think that there's any kind of substance to the idea of playing on a worse setup at home and then getting buffed by LAN?
That's what Loraz does. He's talked about that, and I feel like it is a real thing because I've experienced it, and I hate that it's a real thing because I wish every setup was the same, but that's not the reality of the game.
Right.
I've had cases where my setup at home is worse. I've had cases where it's better, and like there's so many different factors to how you can play at LAN that's why it's been so inconsistent, minus a few outliers, right? But I did that for BCX, leading up to BCX.
Oh, for this year?
Yeah, for a couple of weeks. I did 144 and 240.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just wish the game ran the same everywhere, man. But it doesn't. That's the point I want Brawlhalla to reach, honestly, because it's really annoying as a competitor.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's like 540 hertz monitors available now.
Oh,
and like,
God.
Can you just optimize the game so that it's what it feels like? Do something. I don't know how to do it. I don't. It is really frustrating. I don't know how it's fixable.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I don't know how much more they can do. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where, like, if you could wave a magic wand and fix anything about Brawlhalla, that's probably
That's
top
number one.
of everyone's list. Yeah.
Frame fix doesn't do anything. I don't feel it. It's always the monitor, in my experience. Well, I mean, okay, frame fix probably does something, but is it like, I don't know.
It's made a significant difference for me. So
yeah, I feel like it affects like
different
lower performing setups much more than like a gaming PC, like a good gaming PC. That's my guess. I haven't really used it on a bunch of setups though.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can come up with more ways to optimize performance, because
I feel like it's possible. We'll see though.
That would be the ideal. So, speaking of waving a magic wand and fixing anything about Brawlhalla, what would if you had like one thing besides performance that you could ask for, mechanics, changes, whatever, what would you like to see in Brawlhalla?
That's such a broad question,
isn't it?
I feel like this is a lame answer, but it's true. Can we just never, ever, ever, and I mean never, have Axe be meta again? It's so not fun. It's lame. It's like, it doesn't take skill. It's just circles. True combo circles that do 40 damage each. No one likes it. Like, I was going to say this on an interview at the Royale, but I forgot. It was about Kaina, and I'm like, guys, do we really want Taros winning BCX? Like, be so honest with yourself. Do you want that? Do we want Axe winning BCX? No, we don't. So thankfully use one, but it's like, no hate to Kaina. It's just, Axe is not a good meta weapon. It's not fun for viewership or the players. So just like make it, you know, oh yes, wait, actually, start reworking weapons again. They're starting to rework SIGs. They reworked Axe a little bit. In 2019, 2020, they did canon.
Right.
Start reworking stuff again. Give certain weapon aerials grounded versions. Like, some do and some don't. It's kind of inconsistent, right?
Right.
Rework Axe so it's not just circles. And then make Lance different, too. Like, Lance right now is kind of in an okay state, but it's still just like a weird weapon design. I feel like there's so much more they could do in terms of reworks.
Yeah.
Minus just, like, Legend SIGs. Which they're doing a great job of, but I think they could keep putting use to experimental with stuff like that. And I think that's what they should do.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, no, that would be cool to see more weapon adjustments and reworks and things like that.
Like, even if it sucks, you're experimenting. That's what experimental's for, you know?
Right.
They've added bad things and taken it out. Remember the static dodge cooldown?
Oh,
what a horrible thing to play on.
I thought it was fun, but
yeah, I played every string weapon and I hated it. So
really, yes. Why?
Because it was lame. I didn't earn anything. They probably just like did. You did one bad grounded dodge up. You're eating 100 damage off a spear string. Double D-Light Sarah off of a grounded spot dodge. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. True. We're getting pretty close to the end of our time. So one thing I'd like to ask is, do you have anything that you would like to say, kind of to the community, like the wider community, your fans, anything like that, before we sign off?
I'm glad that so many people like watching me the most, because, you know, my gameplay is pretty cool, right? No, but I appreciate all the fans who stick with me and want me to win, even when I'm losing or even when I'm absent from a lot of things. I appreciate that support, and I always try to win, even when it looks like I'm throwing.
All right, well, no throwing this year or this upcoming
wait
year.
until winters, and then we'll focus on that.
After winters. After winters, no more throwing. I think it's gonna be a pretty good year. It will be. 2023 was something special.
2024. I'm starting to feel old. Like that's
I
crazy.
Right? I don't want to hear that shit.
My fault.
Oh man, no, thank you for coming on the show. This is really great, and I know that a lot of people have requested you, and obviously at this point, like, you're easily one of the most popular players for Brawlhalla, and so when I asked people who they wanted to see on the show, it was like Sandstorm and then everybody else.
Really?
So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So being able to have you on as like the opener for season 1 is really awesome. So thank you for doing this.
Of course, it was fun.
All right.
Hopefully you got a lot of insight on anything.
Right. Well, all right. I think we're going to wrap up there. Stay tuned for season 2, or the rest of season 2. Episode 2 will be Zipmaster Flex next week. Have a good night, everybody.